Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here with me. Joining us this afternoon are Commander Ellen Motoy, Deputy Commander of the U.S. Coast Guard Sector, San Diego. I want to thank you for hosting us here today. Rear Admiral Brad Rosen, Commander of Navy Region Southwest. Eric Dargan, City of San Diego's Chief Operating Officer. Chris Heiser, the Executive Director of the City's Office of Emergency Services. Police Chief David Nislite, Assistant Fire Chief Dave Graboth, and Lifeguard Chief James Garland. We're here at the U.S. Coast Guard San Diego sector to share an update on Hurricane Hilary, preparations in our region by the city, the Coast Guard, the Navy, and others. This, of course, is a storm that is expected to arrive in our region early in the new day, tomorrow. I have been briefed earlier today by meteorologists about the storm's trajectory. We are told that the storm is moving faster than yesterday and that we'll have rain starting tonight, with the most intense portion of that rain and high winds coming tomorrow afternoon. Our Emergency Services Director will have an up-to-the-minute information on all of this and will be speaking in more detail on the storm shortly. As of right now, what we know for certain is that there will be sustained high winds of up to 50 miles per hour, and that there will be enough rain to flood low-lying areas like Mission Valley and the Tijuana River Valley. We have first responders positioned to address emergencies that may occur because of this flooding, but I ask people to avoid areas that are known to be flood zones. Do not drive through standing water on any street that may be flooded. It is often the case that these flooded areas are far deeper than they appear, and your poor choice to enter those areas may require the use of limited public safety resources that we'd like to devote elsewhere. Crews from the city's storm patrol will be actively monitoring areas throughout the city and responding to incidences such as temporary flooding, downed trees, and branches. We now have a storm-specific page on our city website, sandiego.gov, where you can receive real-time updates throughout this event. That site, again, is sandiego.gov/storm. This is where you should go to know what city services are impacted and when you might expect them to resume. Now, it's important for you to take action today to prepare for the significant rain expected tomorrow. I would ask San Diegans to take precautions such as clearing your gutters of leaves and other debris that may have accumulated, and to make sure the storm drains near your home or your property are clear of trash, leaves, and other debris. This will help us to prevent the kind of flooding that we are anticipating because of the high amount of water that's anticipated to come because of the storm. The city has distributed thousands of sandbags across the city. A list of recreation centers where those sandbags are available is on that website that I mentioned just a moment ago. I want to thank the San Diegans who have come forward to get those sandbags. I know in some locations we may have run out of a few. We're currently procuring more to make sure that needs are met and addressed. For our unsheltered population, the city's Homelessness Strategies and Solutions Department, as well as the San Diego Housing Commission, have activated our inclement weather shelter system. We have an additional 192 shelter beds available at 4 locations for people to come off the streets tonight and through the remainder of this storm. I strongly advise that they do so. 146 people from the 20th and B Safe Sleeping Site have been temporarily relocated to the Golden Hall earlier this morning. And the city's outreach teams and our various community partners continue to warn individuals of the risk posed by this storm and encourage them to accept shelter. We continue to ask people to shelter in place during the storm. Tomorrow is going to be a perfect day for you to stay at home and enjoy the company of your relatives, your friends, family, and your pets. Please prepare for tomorrow by making sure that your phone and other essential devices are fully charged in case the power goes out. I also recommend folks take precautions to make sure the batteries in your flashlights and, again, other essential equipment are powered and working. We do anticipate power outages to happen due to the high winds across our county. And so again, these kinds of precautions will be necessary and I think helpful to you as we get through the storm. We again encourage people to please stay indoors and avoid any unnecessary travel, again, particularly tomorrow. As always, if there's a life-threatening emergency, we ask that you please call 911. Finally, I want to say rest assured that our city crews and first responders are ready to respond to the impacts and emergencies that will come, and we appreciate you doing your part to make sure that we can all stay safe together. I also like to share that I just left a meeting with our Governor, Gavin Newsom. He is here in San Diego. He paid a visit to our Emergency Operations Center just over an hour ago. He assured me that the state of California is watching and monitoring the storm closely, and that the full weight of our state government will be here to support our city before, during, and after this event. I want to express to the Governor the sincere appreciation of the City of San Diego for his active engagement in this matter. I know that it will make a difference both in the lead up to this event and in the days after. Now I'd like to hand it over to our Executive Director of our Office of Emergency Services, Chris Heiser, to provide the latest on the storm and what we can all expect. Chris?
Good afternoon. It's important to understand that we've been following the storm for a number of days, and it's progressing as expected. This reinforces the fact that we do have a tropical storm that will hit San Diego tomorrow afternoon, with the projected eye of the storm somewhere between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. We're anticipating the rains to pick up lightly tonight, light showers, progress into Sunday. Then as the storm moves through, we'll have heavy rains first, followed by the strong winds. The wind projections remain somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 miles per hour sustained in the city of San Diego, up to 70 miles per hour in the mountains. Along with this, we will have strong coastal surge or surge up and high surf. So I need to emphasize, this is a large storm with a huge footprint, unlike what we usually see in San Diego. Normally we're used to small pockets that kind of bounce around. That's not the case. It's already pouring rain out into the desert and east of us. So it will come and it will have the impact that's projected. Anticipate heavy rains, and the rains will not be absorbed like we normally expect. So this will exaggerate or intensify the flooding that we anticipate. So as has been mentioned, this is not something to go out in. It's not some time to go to the beach. Change your plans, adjust what you're doing, stay indoors and minimize your impact. I'll be followed by Commander Mayor Todd.
Good afternoon, all. It's good to have you here. I'm Commander Ellen Motoy, Deputy Sector Commander of Coast Guard San Diego. So the Coast Guard has been very proactive in preparing for this storm. We've been closely coordinating with all of our federal, state, and local partners. So it's been a very strong interagency approach on many levels to ensure that our community, boating public, and the port are prepared for this hurricane. So we continue to operate and plan at an elevated posture, especially because we are cognizant that these storms can be unpredictable. And like as already said, this is a very rare storm occurrence in this area, in this part of the country, and so we're taking it very seriously. We've done a lot of outreach to the port and port partners and the community, and I'd like to share just some quick messages. Number one, stay off the water. Listen to the weather warnings and advisories. It's not the time to go out. Even if you're the most experienced mariner or swimmer, just don't go out. It's not worth it. Number two, secure your belongings and vessels. So hopefully boat owners have their vessels either trailered or in a safe, protected area. And if you're going to leave your boat in the water, please remove any emergency signals and secure your life rings. The Coast Guard does not want to respond to any false alerts, and we want to use our aircraft and resources to respond to people who are in actual need. And number three, evacuate as necessary. If mandatory evacuations occur for an area, the public is encouraged and should evacuate without delay. The Coast Guard personnel, we may not be unable to evacuate or rescue those endangered during the storm. So Coast Guard, our priority is the safety of life at sea, but with this storm and the current weather forecast, there is potential for an increase in search and rescue operations inland, and we stand ready to support our port partners during the storm and after. So thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce Admiral Rosen from United States Navy, Southwest Region.
Thank you, Commander. I'm Rear Admiral Brad Rosen, the Commander of Navy Region Southwest. I have responsibility of Navy base for the Navy bases in the 6 states that make up the Southwest United States, including the 3 bases here in Metro San Diego. As many of you are tracking, the Commander of U.S. 3rd Fleet issued the order to execute a fleet sortie from San Diego bases earlier this morning, and that operation is currently underway at Naval Base Coronado, Naval Base San Diego, and Naval Base Point Loma. As the Region Commander, my primary focus is the safety and well-being of the 183,000 Department of the Navy sailors, civilians, and their families who reside throughout Metro San Diego. We are also preparing to execute any relief efforts to our civilian authority counterparts if called upon to do so. While this weather pattern is unique to Southern California and Metro San Diego, we as a Navy have a significant experience executing these type of operations on the East Coast, and we are drawing on that experience here in Metro San Diego, and I'm confident that we're going to be able to execute these operations safely and without any significant concern. So I look forward to working with our community partners, and I thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Admiral Rosen and Commander Motoy, Chief Heiser. We obviously have also our police chief, our lifeguard chief, our assistant fire chief, and our chief operating officer here available to answer any questions folks might have. So happy to throw it open to field anything that's on folks' mind. UT. So for the benefit of folks who may not be able to hear the question, it's about homeless encampment on 17th Street, and I'm assuming East Village, downtown San Diego. Individuals sounding as though they're unaware of the storm event that's coming. Yeah. Questioners asking, Phil from the UT is saying that folks are aware of the storm coming, but they don't want to leave. Sadly, in our experience, that is often the case. That's a part of why we're here today, to communicate not just to unsheltered folks on 17th Street, but really every San Diegan. This is serious. You should take it serious, and you should take precautions now to avoid worse outcomes tomorrow. As I mentioned, we have activated our inclement shelter system in order to provide additional capacity for those folks that you're talking about to be able to come off the streets. We've relocated our safe sleeping site. That's over 100 individuals. So we're making significant efforts right now to make sure that unsheltered folks have better options than staying outdoors. I know that our outreach teams have saturated, sorry, no pun intended, have been aggressively outreaching in the San Diego riverbed to try and again encourage folks to come out of those environments and come into shelter. I do know that many folks do turn down those offers of help and assistance. Obviously, if that is not the right choice, that is a bad choice. But if it's a choice that we'll make, we will continue to have public safety professionals to try and address anything that may come. But I would like anyone who's in harm's way to get themselves out of harm's way, because surely there'll be people who will end up there accidentally, and we're going to have to provide services to them. What is regrettable is when people are in harm's way but are not taking steps now to protect themselves that ultimately consume a lot of our resources that we may need to respond elsewhere. So again, the message from the mayor, from I think all of us standing here, is to please take precautions right now. A couple of minutes of effort today could reduce our impacts tomorrow, and that can make the difference between a prolonged power outage, other service disruptions, and obviously it could also make the difference between life and death. So I hope that people will make good choices. Question is the governor anticipating doing an emergency declaration? I believe the governor will be taking additional steps that he'll announce in his own time frame. But I will tell you that I was heartened by the governor's attention to this situation. He understands what it is, which is historic. He is here locally and made himself available to the city of San Diego in our response efforts. I don't think you can ask for anything more than that from a governor, and that pre-planning to that commitment to be there on the cleanup on the backside gives me great hope that we can not only navigate this successfully, but that we'll be able to address the impacts of the storm relatively quickly. Other questions? Yes. question is whether or not it's been difficult to convince the public that this is serious. No, actually, I am grateful to the people of this city who are clearly taking this seriously. I've done a number of community events today. Every stop along the way, individuals were sharing with me the personal steps that they have taken to prepare for the storm. Everything from removing patio furniture from the backyards in order to eliminate various risks to the broader community, rescheduling plans. As I mentioned, we've had a heavy consumption of our sandbags at recreation centers. This shows to me that people know that this is coming. They're taking reasonable precautions to protect themselves and their personal property, and they have my immense gratitude. That kind of effort cumulatively reduces the strain on our response system and allows these professionals to be able to focus where the need is greatest. So I encourage folks to continue to do that. I want to thank my father, who told me that he spent the morning doing the very same thing in his yard. That's great. A couple of minutes of his time today could prevent any of those items that he brought in indoors from flying into the power lines that are near his home and cause a power outage that could last for hours or days. So that kind of affirmative effort is exactly what we want people to do. And from what I can tell from my travels around the city, my conversations with San Diegans, or what I observe on social media, I do think people are taking it seriously. I just want to make sure everyone is doing that, because everyone has a role to play in this response effort. Other folks? Again, make sure you have these people behind me who can answer questions as well. Yes, sir. Yeah. Question is about reservoirs. I don't know if we have someone that can field that. I'm somewhat aware of that situation. Eric, do you have anything? So I have heard from some of our partners. You know, I can imagine I've been on the phone quite a bit talking to other people in the region, understanding how they're preparing. You know, obviously rain, we need to have storage, you know, to try and reduce the risk of spillovers and things of that nature. I think the water agencies seemingly are taking all the appropriate steps. We can try and get you some more information, but that sort of speaks to, you know, we have to pay attention to a lot of moving parts in the situation, and that's why this call for collective action by every San Diegan, you know, while we're doing that critical work that must be done, please do your part to make sure that we're all moving in the same direction. But I am aware of some of that, and it's just usual storm response. Now, Chris, do you know, I should have asked you around reservoirs, lowering of reservoirs.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
So in regards to the reservoirs, each reservoir is being managed. The EOC is being appraised of exactly what's happening at all the reservoirs so that we can maintain situational awareness and also monitor potential impact downstream. Right now, we're not seeing the current action they're taking, which is releasing some water, is having any effect. And we monitor the primary, which everyone's aware of, is Mission Valley. So we watch that in real time to see what the levels are. So we're in close coordination with them and getting briefings on a regular basis to make sure that it's a coordinated effort.
Anyone else? If not, I imagine you can impose on these individuals for any kind of one-on-ones. I want to express my appreciation to our interpreter who is here. I also want to acknowledge we have a public information officer who's here for any of our Spanish language stations that may need translation services. But again, thank you to the media for being here. You're part of the solution and making sure we're communicating clearly with the general public. Again, my reminder to San Diegans, tomorrow is a great day to stay home. Take steps today, right now, to prepare for tomorrow, and know that as we do that, as you do those things, we'll be doing our part. And these professionals standing behind me have been working for several days now to make sure that we're prepared for this storm. I believe some of the recent weather data is somewhat encouraging, but this is not the time to let up on our emergency response efforts. Everyone has a role to play in this preparation and in the recovery afterward. I'm hopeful that we will be able to deal with this very successfully. But a lot of that is happening right now. Please do your part, take precautions right now, and we will be back with more updates as we receive them. A reminder, again, go to sandiego.gov/storm. That's where we'll be making all the information the city's aware of available to the general public. And of course, we'll convene everyone once again if we need to provide additional information before then. Thank you all very much.